Hello, everyone, and welcome to Something Identical. Keaton and Evan here back again with another episode 32. It feels like it's been a long time since we've recorded.
Yeah, I think. But we recorded on a Monday last time, so this is set. So it's almost 2 weeks.
So we're back. Hopefully, we know what we're doing this time. We didn't forget how to do this. And I think we're going to take like a slight break, like maybe a week or two break, get some things scheduled, get some guests scheduled, and then hit the ground running again to finish out the year. But we kind of wanted to start talking about a little bit of politics, as that's kind of the main thing that's been going on recently. And of course, Trump's Trump getting, is it indicted or
his mugshot, arrested. Mugshot.
I'm surprised Rudy Giuliani's didn't get released as well. I guess not as high profile, but
it did get released. It was just earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He just wasn't as funny looking.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
Trump's is very funny.
Oh, how many times do you think he practiced that mugshot beforehand? It had to be hundreds.
You think so?
Oh yes. I mean, you can say a lot about the guy, but like if there's anything that you could say about him is that he knows how to spin the media. He's been on camera for forever, so he definitely practiced that.
It makes it funnier to me that he practiced it then.
Yeah.
Like, if he hadn't practiced and it was just like okay, classic Trump, he made a funny face or whatever. But that fact that he practiced it, it's like this dude's playing into it so much.
Oh yeah.
He's getting good at it, I guess, or maybe he's always been good at it.
He's always been good at I guess making the attention around him, and he's a master at it.
Isn't that narcissist, right?
Yeah.
I guess you have to be president, you have to be a narcissist. I don't know how true that is, but
that's true.
He has blown his first tweet back. His first time back, he tweeted the mugshot, and he said, "I think it didn't say
it's like selling a T-shirt or something."
Yeah, very funny.
First tweeted 3 years. I mean, this. Dang it! I don't love the guy, but you have to admire his skill at media.
Yeah. And maybe if it's not him, his team is pretty good at it too.
Yeah.
Do you think that affects, since we're going to talk about politics, do you think that affects very much of his base, or affects him that he was actually arrested? I mean, he's not charged, right? So. You're back now.
So,
you froze.
Yeah, I don't know why. It always happens right whenever we start recording. Like, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, but you asked if
if I thought
him.
Yeah, if getting arrested. I mean, not necessarily the mugshot, but if him getting arrested, if it affects him that much.
Oh no, I think
positive or negative.
I think it helps him a lot for winning the primary, not for winning the general, which is the entire intent of it. I mean, I do think that a lot of stuff that he did is like probably illegal, probably worthy of being arrested, but also it seems like, why wouldn't you do this years ago? It seems highly coincidental that you press all these charges right during the middle of the primary, helping essentially boost him, because he's like the easy opponent to beat for the Democrats. So I think it helps him in the primary and hurts him in the general, which is like the perfect political strategy if you're a Democrat.
Yeah, and it's pretty obvious that they're timing it. They're not even really trying to hide this kind of stuff anymore.
No, yeah, it's just
everything is perfectly timed. Every single one of his indictments were planned around some type of Democratic news that was coming out that wasn't going to be very positive. So they know what they're doing on that side as well. Yeah, I think I was going to say, I wasn't going to necessarily say the same thing you said, but in essence the same. Like, I was going to say it hurts him with the people that were on the fence, but obviously boosts him with his own
Yeah.
It makes his people love him even more because everything that he's been saying, if they're attacking me, is just more of it is just piling on.
Yeah, it's just true.
And so it helps him with his own base. I don't know if it necessarily helps all that much with conservatives, but
I think it does. I think it does help, like with people kind of on the fence. Okay, if you're like between like a DeSantis and a Trump, you might start leaning towards Trump because like there's just all this momentum in that direction. Uh, I feel like when you feel attacked, you kind of rally behind the person that's being attacked, and I think that's what ends up happening to Trump. And I think he just runs away with the primary, and it's not even going to be close.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the people on the fence, I don't think it necessarily helps all that much, but maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. When it comes to the other people, when it comes to the other candidates, do you think it hurts them, I guess, since they're going to be running against him?
Like as in the primary candidates. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it hurts them. I mean, it's been shown over and over again. Every time some legality issue happens with Trump, that he gets a little boost in the Republican polls because people just rally behind him all constantly whenever he's being attacked by, and he sells it really well. Like, oh, they're prosecuting me because they hate you essentially, and so that causes this sort of wave shift towards Trump, and it's like that's why they bring all these charges out slowly in waves. Like it's been the last like 6 months where something happens, like FBI raids Mar-a-Lago. That's the first one, that the shoe that dropped, and then charges for classified documents there, him moving stuff around there. That's the second shoe, like stuff that obviously he should not have classified documents at all. But stuff that happens with a lot of political operatives, and Trump ends up being the one that's targeted, and so all these people rally behind him and defend him. So I think, yeah, it definitely hurts the other primary candidates, and unless they can somehow turn it around with what happened with the debate.
Yeah, well, I guess with the debate, I'm not really for sure. Did he even get invited?
Yeah, he was invited. He didn't go.
Because I know he was on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Which was actually kind of funny. An ex-Fox News employee, because it was hosted by Fox News, right? So
yeah.
Tucker Carlson being an ex-Fox News, interviewing the guy that denied their invite. So I thought that's kind of a little ironic, I guess.
It was like a slap in the face, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't like Fox News anymore, like conservatives, I think.
Yeah.
Because of their pro-transgender stance, I guess. That a lot of people don't.
Fox News?
Yeah, it got leaked. Like they haven't publicly said anything, but like they posted like some newsletters and stuff internally about like pronouns and all this stuff. Like,
really?
Just woke stuff, and it's so like a lot of people, they got leaked. Somebody got fired or something, and they leaked it, and so they were like pro-transgender. Like and I don't know if it was necessarily about kids, but they were just like pro certain stuff that a lot of conservatives are against. So,
so now all the conservatives,
yeah, they don't. I mean, I wouldn't say hate, but there's a lot of them that just stopped watching Fox News because of it.
Oh well, I guess I'm way out of the loop, because I knew the Tucker Carlson thing caused a lot of people to not like it, but I wasn't aware of all the.
Yeah, it was I think it was a female employee. I don't know if she got let go or what, but she leaked some type of like memo that they released about like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, when it comes down to these news media companies, like traditional news media companies, it still surprises me that they are able to get as many viewers as they have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just our generation, so we're a little bit blinded to it. But I feel like I never see anyone watching like television news. It's all on YouTube. It's all on podcast. It's not flipping
It's
the
social
channel to
media.
Fox News. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't think we watch TV that much anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry if my hair's a little crazy, but I just don't think we watch TV like traditional TV. So we don't really care to watch the news. We have to get it some other way.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really watches the weather either anymore.
No, you just pull up your phone.
Look up the weather app. But yeah, so that stuff got leaked or whatever, and so not a lot of people like them. But the Tucker Carlson stuff was what, it hit like 145 million views.
And there was 230 million views, but also I don't buy Twitter's view algorithm is kind of garbage. I mean, like, just if it's in your feed, that's a view. So that's not the same as turning it on and watching
the
10
whole
minutes
hour or whatever.
Yeah. I just can't buy the Twitter's views. Originally, I did think it was super exciting. It was like all these people were getting lots of views on their stuff on Twitter, but I realized, oh, it's literally just impressions. That's what they're counting as views, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're transparent about that kind of stuff when it comes to advertisers.
Yeah, no, they must be if you're actually like dig into the analytics. I'm guessing. I mean, what do you think is a normal conversion like on, let's say, of those 230 million impressions, what percent watch 10 minutes? Like 1 to 3%?
I guess if it's political, it's probably, I don't know. Tucker Carlson, I feel like gains a lot of traction. So I would say
a lot of hate watches.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say like 15%, honestly.
Oh, wow.
I would say it's higher than we think because like 1-2% is not very much.
No, yeah.
Now, granted, it's less target. I guess I was gonna say it's less targeted, like because like YouTube would be, oh, it's up on my feed. YouTube has an algorithm.
Yeah,
I'm either subscribed or I've watched their content before.
Yeah.
Or it's very similar to something I've watched. So like that it's like your impression rate is gonna be a lot higher.
Yeah.
But on Twitter, if somebody retweets it, like you don't even get the impression, but you might not watch it. So
although I do think Twitter's algorithm now, if you're on the For You page, is usually it's getting pretty good. Like so I guess that probably does lead to a higher conversion rate on watch time.
Yeah. I mean, good for Tucker Carlson. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's just a new model, though, in general.
Yeah, the solo brand, news brand, is basically the model of the future for news, it seems like.
Yeah, like, what is it, Daily Wire?
Yeah.
I don't think that many people care about the Daily Wire. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people care about the Daily Wire, but I don't think people would rather watch their, I don't know what you call them, influencers. Would rather watch Candace Owens or Candace Owen, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. Like they would rather watch those people than
the Daily Wire news. Yeah, it seems like they built their entire brand off of getting personal brands, which is very interesting because I think they're kind of like the first ones to do that model for news, at least, or the first ones to do it really well.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of like esports content houses, kind of.
Yeah.
These brands they hire or contract out to get influencers to join their brand, which I don't know. It probably works really well for them because they have, like, I'm sure Ben Shapiro has a ton of equity in the Daily Wire. So I'm sure that like he's going to stay with them. Like when it comes to like the esports people or content houses or whatever, those people will just have contracts, and when the contract's up, they just leave. So like your brands don't really grow as much together as you would like. But for Ben and them and Daily Wire, I think their brand is almost synonymous. Is that the right term?
Oh yeah, I mean, That sounds right. I wonder. I always wonder what the contract deals look like in like the Daily Wire. I mean, I guess the content house thing I know a little bit less about, but the deals are probably structured a little bit similarly. Like, okay, if I go in to become, let's just say we become podcasters on, I don't know,
The Daily Wire.
Daily Wire Network. Like, what do they say? Okay, we own 50% of everything you make in ads, and now we give you this platform that will grow your account by
Yeah, so I think
10,000%.
because it went when that Steven Crowder stuff came out,
Mhm.
Candace Owens talked a lot about her contract. So it's like you have to do X amount of content, and we're gonna help you if you like do spin-off stuff. So like you have your main channel or whatever, YouTube channel, TikTok, whatever it was. You have to be on there like X amount of hours a week, X amount of times a day. And they give you the professional production side of stuff. So they build you sets. So you come into their office and you have a set that you sit in on. It's not their like I think what's her name, Brett Cooper. I think she has one that looks kind of like
TikTok
a bedroom.
girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has one that kind of looks a little bit like a bedroom.
That's so weird.
But like
it's just in a building. It's in a building.
Yeah. I mean,
I've
it's just
seen
like Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like it looks like a desk in like a room, like a house, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look industrial. Like I don't know.
Looks like a house office, home office, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes it seem more genuine, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like, which this is a little off topic, but like Mr. Beast talked about that. Like you don't want your stuff to seem so professional, you lose out on a certain brand of people.
Yeah.
So
little do they know we're actually in an industrial warehouse right now.
My house is actually an industrial. Is inside an industrial warehouse. But yeah, so they give you like all this extra gear, like the professional side of it. They give you professional editors. They have people helping you make content and come up with ideas for content, or they take your ideas and like try to make it feasible. And they do take a large percentage, but I think you also have to like post so much stuff on the Daily Wire because like if you think about it, most of their content's free. At least 80% of it is probably free. Well, that doesn't make you all that much money, so they take portions of that and put that behind their paid wall or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it's such an interesting business model to me. Like I'm fascinated with this stuff. Like there's no way anything. I mean, I guess variations of this have sort of always existed, but this is so different and new that I don't even know if you can really compare it to news of old. Like just the fact that people are getting paid to come in and make videos for people to consume is wild. Like as an individual, it's just wild to me. Like I don't know, it's still so strange to me. And it almost seems like at what point does content actually get saturated, or is there always? I mean, there's always a demand for these individual voices, so it never really gets saturated. It's just a few that are always competing at the very top that get the majority of the attention, and they switch out. New people can take down other people, and
yeah, it's like the top 1%. You're just like constantly moving.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And there's always people that are like they quit or they take a step back. It's they haven't had a vacation 3 years. So
I mean, those Twitch streamer stuff still fascinates me. Like that sit there and stream for 12 hours a day. I can't believe people watch.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't watching all 12 hours. I mean, you're watching.
I mean, I just can't believe people will tune into a thing that will be a 12-hour. I mean, if I'm streaming something for 12 hours a day, that means I'm not doing super exciting things constantly. I mean, I'll be. I've never watched one, so I have no idea. But
it eventually it just becomes about being involved in this person's life.
Yeah,
almost like reality TV a little bit.
Yeah,
because like you get the scoop on the drama of their life and the all like the cool exciting things that they're doing when it comes to like, oh, they're going on vacation, or like it just becomes more about the person than about like what they're actually doing. which is one of the reasons why vlogs I think do pretty well with
Yeah.
people. Which a vlog is a video biography. Is that the right term?
Yeah, I think so.
It's just like you're recording yourself talking and what like doing about your daily life
A
or
day in
doing
my
tasks.
life. Yeah.
Day in a life at Google.
Why all those employees got fired probably during the layoffs.
Yeah, when the company saw their video and said, "Wow, you
Wow,
didn't do
you
anything
actually don't
today,
do anything. You worked for 30 minutes.
but you sat at the on-campus coffee shop for 7 hours today. Didn't even take your laptop." So yeah, it is
So,
interesting, but
what happens if like I mean, I know a little bit about, you mentioned the content houses where the video game streamers usually will go and build a platform. What happens when they like want to quit and leave? And what
they
prevents them from just like building a platform and then getting out really fast?
well, so it's not a lot of times. You have to usually build up your own platform first, and
Oh,
then they
okay.
bring you in. It's not like they go out and get somebody with 5 views and
Yeah.
bring them in. It's somebody that like for instance, there's a guy named Tifu. It was a big deal. He got signed to FaZe, but he had like he was averaging like 300 viewers a session or a stream, I guess. And he was pretty good, like super highly competitive. And one of the content houses, FaZe, signed him to a 2-year contract. But it wasn't a very good one. It's kind of like those people say they're predatory contracts for young singers or media.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was like a big deal. He's like, I don't get any, like, got to keep a lot of his revenue from streaming, but like
sponsorships
and stuff, like he didn't get like as much. And so he was like super aggravated about that. And it just like ended up being like a super sour relationship. And after I think it was a 2-year contract. I think they bought him out. Like they bought out his contract or something. Or maybe they just agreed to end, but he left. But I mean, they helped him. So the theory was that he would have gotten to where he was anyways.
Yeah.
But they sped it up.
Yeah.
Because they gave him like actual verified viewers that were interested in his content. So he was like, obviously like if I'm a content house and I'm going to hire you and you do my audience is gamers and you do Barbie reviews, then I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna yeah, it's not gonna match. So like that wouldn't be as beneficial as if we both had the same. If my content was Barbie reviews and I don't know why I used that example, but then it would be like a good match because like if I had a big audience, and it works the other way too, of like if you had a big audience and I was smaller, I would pay you more money and you got to keep a lot of your stuff, but a lot of your viewers would come over to my more generic content. So
yeah.
So it can work both ways. A small team can go after a bigger streamer or a bigger content person.
Yeah.
So like in Daily Wire's instance, they went after Candace Owens. Obviously, they had a lot of overlap anyways. But like she was pretty big. I don't know if she was bigger than them, but it wasn't like she was small and they boosted her up. Like Brett Cooper was like super small. And her stuff was less political, I think, at the time. I think she had some political stuff, but she was a lot smaller. And then they signed her and they boosted her up. With Candace Owens, it was probably more mutual. Like,
or Jordan Peterson. They brought in Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, and he had a huge following, right? So, which I don't really see in his content. He probably has a very different structure than the rest of them.
I think all of his stuff is behind paywall, but I'm not for sure. I mean, I haven't really like paid attention to him, and
we need to get Logan Pipes on here. The biggest Daily Wire fan of all time.
Is he really? I'm not surprised, I guess.
I don't know if he really is, but I remember Miko talking about how he would wake up in the middle of the night and there would be a Ben Shapiro podcast playing and Logan would be asleep. So
It's just like absorbing this in his brain at night. Osmosis.
Osmosis, but through audio. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we just need to have him on and bring him on, talk to him about it. Let's go back to the candidates if we can.
Yeah.
So the debate was the other day. There was Chris Christie. Who all was up there? You said, is it Nikki?
Nikki Haley, Vivek.
Yeah. I call him Vivek. I don't think that's right, but
I think it's Vivek, but I'm not for sure.
That's going to really hurt him in the long run.
I don't think he wants to be president anyways, right now. Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Vivek, Nikki Haley, two random guys. I don't remember their names. Mike Pence. I think that's all the big ones.
Let's see. Doug Burgum, Chris Christie, Nikki Haley.
Tim Scott.
Tim Scott. Mike Pence. Asa Hutchinson. Those are big ones. Obviously, Donald Trump.
But he wasn't there. He wasn't at the debate.
Yeah, he wasn't at the debate. Yeah. Ron DeSantis. Yeah, so those are the big hitters. Chris Christie looked like a fool from some of the clips that I saw. They all try to get on Vivek about his love for Trump, I guess, which is kind of a big deal.
Well, it seemed like a lot of them were. I mean, I didn't watch the whole debates. I kind of just hit all the highlights and listened to some summaries. And from what people were saying, it seemed like Vivek is it depends on how you view him, like with how you view politics essentially will mold how you view Vivek. And you can either love him if you're kind of like more in the Trumpish wing, or you just absolutely can't stand him if you're he's like a soundbite character. Like he knows how to get the sound bites, and that can be very annoying to the candidates. And I think that the candidates all don't like him because of that, and so they all attacked him for those reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's anti-establishment enough to stand out from the rest of them, because he's not afraid to call out like the Ukraine war, how it's stupid. He's not afraid to, like, he supports nuclear, which I don't think really any of the other ones they might.
Yeah, no one ever talks about that.
What was another one that he had? The school stuff. He wants to get rid of the public school system, I think, or maybe not the whole public school system.
The Department of Education.
Yeah, like get rid of that and give like tax dollars back to people or something. I don't know. But
yeah, like those things are all like super idealistic and gung ho, but like, are they practical? Like, what does dissolving the Department of Education actually look like? Like, I mean, maybe you could do it, but it seems like something that would be a very slow process if you did it. Or similar, I mean, Ukraine, I guess, is more debatable, but the nuclear stuff I'm way on board with. He's like, the thing that actually I liked the most about him. So originally I didn't like him I originally kind of liked him. I thought he was very interesting. And then he said some fiery things about the bank crash that happened like several months back that were just wrong and stupid. And then I listened to a podcast, like a long form podcast from him. And he actually walked back those things. He said he learned a little bit more about it and walked it back. And I was like, okay, that's like rare for someone to do. Like
to usually double down.
Yes. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But in the debate, like his big, I guess, shining moment or anti-shining moment, depending on how you view him again, was whenever they asked like about climate change. And he basically said that all the other candidates were on the stage with him were bought and paid for. He was the only one that wasn't bought and paid for to call, I don't remember how he worded it. I think he said like the climate change a hoax or something.
Yeah, that
And I
more
was like,
people are dying to climate change policies than they are to climate change or something like that.
yeah, and I don't understand. I mean, I don't think there's definitely politicians that get bought by companies, but I don't think it's like nearly as pervasive as a lot of them say. And I think it just becomes like a fight up there whenever someone like him says that. And I think that's whenever a lot of the candidates got started jumping on him after that
But
statement.
that was like a clip moment. Like that was popular. Like people booed, and then he started expounding on it, and they're like, "Oh!" And then they started cheering, and then it
Yeah,
went viral on Twitter.
yeah. It was like his popular moment / anti-popular moment. Like I said, it depended on how you like him.
Yeah,
He's by far the most charming one up there, though. Like it's not even close. Like who?
he speaks really well.
Yeah,
I mean, he knows what he's talking about for the most part. Like you said, he can clip the moments. He's like a clip king, and he can roast. He knows how to roast like the other guys, or like Trump does a little bit. Not as he's not as insulting.
Yeah.
But you mentioned offline that he's not running for, or maybe I guess you mentioned online too. He's not running for president. I mean, he's a candidate, but
he's running for president, but not running for president. He's obviously running for VP or cabinet position. Like he's not attacking Trump. He's the only candidate that Trump isn't attacking. Like if you're in running for president and you're not, disparaging the guy who's 40 points ahead of you, then you're not actually trying. And all he does is like praise,
I mean, if he didn't attack anybody, then it might be a little different. But
yeah,
but he's specifically not attacking Trump.
Yes, exactly. So that's definitely some political strategizing, and he's really worked himself from unknown to third most popular Republican candidate, and I think it's like I said earlier that Trump is going to win the primary. I think it's obvious that he's going to give Vivek a cabinet position at the least, and then that launches his political career, which is I think his entire goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's smart. He's a businessman. I think he has a little bit. He's not as what is it, silver spoon or golden spoon boy, like where you have daddy's money because his parents are immigrants.
Yeah,
like Trump obviously had his dad's
small
money.
loan of $1 million to start.
Yeah, he had a little bit easier upbringing, I would say. That's obviously from the outside looking in. I don't really know their lives, but his parents were immigrants, so like he came from nothing and built himself up to be a businessman. He's self-funded, isn't he? Or for the most part,
I don't know for sure, but it seems like it.
He at least talks that he's self-funded. So I think he's a lot like Trump, obviously a lot younger. But
I mean, I think it's cool that he had like success in biotech. Like that's, I mean, I guess that's my field. So I think that's pretty cool. It's interesting that, I wonder what what he would say about like the vaccines if they actually asked him about that. Like, is he going to go full right wing and go against it, or is he going to use, I mean, he obviously has some scientific acumen to run a massive biotech that actually is pretty freaking successful and has 6 FDA approved drugs. So I'm just curious as to what he would say in that, because
he's definitely going to be on the fence on some of that stuff. Like, you can't say too much.
He's like trying to pander to his audience, or is he going to do what he
knows is true,
believes? So
yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Also, another interesting thing that is not talked about is like, I mean, if you're in the GOP, you basically have to be you got to be Christian, I guess, quote unquote, to win in the GOP. Although I think that's debatable. How, as long as you just say you are, then you're fine. Well,
I've been to church once before, so
yeah. I mean, Trump is obviously not very Christian in actions, but Vivek opens up like, what did he say? He said something like, "Oh, God is real, something, something, something about the U.S. Like all these statements, like that are true statements. He said these are the true statements, and he started with God is real. Well, okay, he's interesting because he's Hindu. So I wonder if anyone's ever going to ask him about that. Like I feel, I wonder how the GOP voters would have viewed that if they actually knew that he was Hindu, if it would even affect things or not.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think
he's from India? He's from India, right? Or his family's from India? It's interesting they're Hindu because a lot of them are Muslim. So I think that does hurt him, but at the same time, like his objective is not to run for president. Why? I guess this is just something I came up with right now. Why is Chris Christie running? The dude runs every time and is immediately out in the first couple months.
I don't know. I think they raise money or something. They must make money from this.
It's a meme for him now.
I have no idea. He has to get money from this or something. Like it just, yeah. I wonder the same thing.
3-time failed presidential candidate is now your governor again, or whatever. I don't know. I feel like it hurts you in your own state. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Beto's not running again, so that's fine.
No, right? That's true. That's true. Is he running for senator?
I have no idea. Are there any candidates that you know of that's not taking serious enough, but you think should be highlighted?
I mean, it seemed like Nikki Haley performed well for what she's targeting. A lot of. I mean, we've talked a lot about Ukraine on this podcast, and a lot of basically conservatives have gone completely against Ukraine war, and then she sort of laid out her case for why we support Ukraine, and I thought it was decent. Is better than most Republicans do, and it was at least different. I mean, they all have the same views, but I think it was interesting. It was kind of refreshing to hear something else, even though it's not necessarily the popular thing in the party. So, and she got a big boost after the debate. I don't necessarily think it's because of that, but just because of multiple other moments. So that was, I guess, the one surprise from the debate.
Which she's the only female candidate, at least on the Republican side.
Yeah.
There's that one fight Trump with love lady.
Yeah.
She's on the Democratic side.
Yeah.
At least she was. Let's switch to Democratic side real quick. RFK, I feel like all of his stuff has just died now.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything about him. If I see anything, it's negative. Is he even still running?
I don't know. He's still running, but he had his moment, and I think it's like, oh, this guy's interesting. Oh, this guy's interesting. Then you dig a little bit more, and you're like, okay, oh, never mind.
What do you mean by never mind?
I mean, a lot of he talks really well on the podcast, but when you actually really dig into what he believes,
the meat of it,
yeah, it's crazy. Like super anti-nuclear. I mean, his views on homelessness are pretty outrageous. Like, I mean, he thinks that you should just basically, like, San Francisco would fix their homeless problem if they just literally gave homeless people money. Like, he has all these very diverging views that align with both the very far left and the very far right, which is just a recipe for failure to me.
Well, it's just give money to homeless people. It's not universal basic income.
No. I mean, I might be getting this wrong, but no, I don't.
Because Yang was pretty popular when it came to universal base.
Yes,
I'd say pretty popular. Obviously, he didn't get very far, but
he did get pretty. He was popular online for sure.
Yeah, was it a?
But it seems like UBI now would completely crash and burn. Like if Yang ran right now, it would be a disaster because our miniature version of UBI during COVID kind of
shot up inflation, and
yes,
it just proved, I guess, the Republican side of it
you can't just print money nonstop.
Yeah, the conservative side of it being hey, you give people more money, inflation goes up. Like, I don't know. If you raise the minimum wage,
you print money unlimited, then money's worth less. That's just kind of, I mean, it's perfectly logical. And yeah, we're the reserve currency, so we're a little bit buffered from that. But eventually,
it catches
buffer. The buffer wears away.
Okay. So also at the debates, have you heard the Oliver Anthony song? It's been super popular recently.
Oh yeah, the Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond of North Richmond.
North
yeah.
of Richmond. Yeah.
So for context, this guy had like 30 or 50 subscribers on YouTube and was like just recording on his phone. Wasn't even like, didn't have a studio or anything. And he came with this song, Richmond of North Richmond, and it like blew up. And now he has like 10 songs on the top 25 or 30 of like iTunes and Spotify. And anyways, I guess a lot of people relate with this song. And so it became really popular. And now this guy's massive. He's got tons of followers on like social media. But they played his song at the debate. And he had a quote about how he finds it funny and ironic that they played his song because the song is about the people that are on stage and the people that are hosting the event. Yeah. So the quote from him is, "It's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here. It was funny seeing it all at the presidential debate because it's like I wrote that song about those people, you know. So for them to have to sit up there and listen to that, it just cracks me up."
That is pretty crazy.
And I don't know if like it was like a political move for Fox News or something, or to try to gain some points of, look, we're trendy.
Look, we're normal. We're poor too.
Yeah, we're here in New York, living in New York.
The fancy event. They probably have like free cocktail hour before the debate, and
all the donors are there. Massive amounts of money. So it's just like they don't get it. They don't use their brains. The song is about them, and they're like, "Oh, I love this song."
I mean, the truth is, like the sort of, I mean, the song is a sort of populist take on more right-leaning than left-leaning populism. But like, the truth is that sector of people in politics, they don't like any politicians at all. It doesn't matter right, left, like, and I guess there's still that DC contingent doesn't understand or get that.
Out of touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's just kind of like just point out that they don't learn.
Yeah.
They don't. I would think that you have somebody lowly enough, I guess, the person that you're paying, $100,000 a year to work for you would maybe be able to step in and say, "Hey, just let you know, like, you're owning."
All those people are too afraid to get in trouble. Everyone's a yes man in the business world.
That's probably why they all suck. They all hurt. Like they can never get out of their own rut, because they never listen and they never evolve and grow.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. Maybe this, like, that sentiment is why big news, or why individual like newscasters are more attractive to nowadays, because there's like, the ones that are really successful are not like us. They're not, they're very rich and successful, but part of it feels a little bit more similar to us. But when you look at like a Fox News or a DC, it's just so separated that how could anyone, like, what?
Well, that goes to that like professional thing I was saying. Like, it's so professional, you lose the lower end people. Like,
exactly. Yeah, so full circle on that.
Well, one thing that I think Tucker Carlson has going for him is he seems like a very normal person. Like, he seems very, like, there's videos of him fishing. Like, I don't know if you've seen that video There's a video of him fishing, and some guy walks up on him and is recording him while he's like picking up his stuff.
Mm.
And it seems like the guy's trying to annoy him at first, and I think he probably was. But Tucker Carlson like plays it off pretty well. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm fishing." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you could fish here. You have a fishing license?" And he's recording him the whole time, so kind of like a little rude. And he says, "Yeah, like I can fish here. I have a fishing license in the state of New York." He's like, "Are you recording me?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got a problem with that?" And Tucker was like, "No, you can do that. Like that's fine." Instead of like getting mad and like raging, like he just seems like a normal person. Like he just does normal activities, like goes fishing, like in public. And so I don't know. I think that like aids him so much in being a
popular
by himself.
Yeah.
Because he's just relatable. Like it's not like he's like that, and then on the like left side of like acting like he's this woke person and trying to get their attention by being woke, and it's really all fake. Like he's part of the base that he preaches about, I guess you could say. And I think that helps him a ton as a content creator, I guess you would say now.
It's I guess I don't know a lot about him because I mean I've never had the TV to watch Fox News, so haven't seen a lot of Tucker Carlson, but it just sounds like he maybe is more authentic to the audience that he is targeting. Yeah,
authentication or authentic is the right term. Yeah. But like I said, that just look it up. Like if you're at home, look up the Tucker Carlson fishing video, and it would be if I was in his case, it'd be very easy to get irritated. But I'm sure he knows in the moment of like, if I freak out here or get mad, like it's just gonna go viral and I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So might as well just play it off.
That's true.
Might as well just play it off or be like normal, I guess.
Yeah, it would suck so bad to be like super popular in political sphere because half the country absolutely hates you and is always going to try to catch you in a vulnerable position. So it's crazy that you don't see more of these people have outbursts. Can you imagine how often that stuff happens to someone like Tucker Carlson when they're in public? Like it would drive me absolutely insane.
Well, I think one of the reasons why a lot of those people have to make so much money is they have to hire security.
Yeah.
And they have to have security with them, maybe not 24/7, but quite often.
Often, yeah.
Like, I mean, how hard would it be for Tucker Carlson to walk down the street of New York or take the subway? Like,
yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Before we close out, related to this? Did you see the thing last weekend where it was like reported Taylor Swift was at a restaurant at a small private wedding, and legit like 30 minutes later there was thousands of people outside of the restaurant, and it was just like, I mean, that's just like the perfect example of like that's literally insane. Like someone who knew
dropped what they were doing.
Yeah, they just went out there, like what the heck? We live in the internet age. Like you're already all the way connected to basically everything someone's doing in their life. It's not like you have to drop everything and go to the place where they're at to just get slightly a better experience.
You gotta go to the restaurant so you can maybe be in the same room as her and sniff the same air.
What's crazy is it was her friend's wedding, like a small wedding that, I mean, I don't know if, I'm not going to say that it ruined the wedding or anything because I don't know that at all, but like it seems like that would be kind of a wedding ruiner when there's thousands of people outside your wedding.
And they're all screaming for somebody in the audience, not even
not
a bride or groom.
Yeah.
Hopefully they handed them all rice so they could throw it when the bride and groom left. No, it's interesting. I don't think that I will ever be like that for a celebrity.
No, I couldn't. There's literally no way. No, not a single one.
Well, I guess, okay. Do you think that's because we're men of faith or people of faith that like we just don't put that much stock in other people? Or do you think it's just that we're logical and like they're just a normal person that has a talent that went viral? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's like some religious aspect necessarily, but I've never thought about that. I know plenty of people who seem like they'd be super fans, like that are at church. So I don't know. I think it's more of a masculine trait to not to not be like that in general, but I don't know. I also think it's just personality. Like maybe we're just competitive. Like men are a little bit more competitive, where it's like, I mean, this person's not that much better than me, even though they're a lot better than
I could do that.
Yeah,
it's like when you're watching sports. You're 50 years old watching a football game. Man, my knees weren't shot. I'd be doing that right now.
Yeah. Actually, last night I was not that I would felt like that in any way, but I was right next to Trae Young last night, and I was like, oh, this is. I feel like a super fan, but I really want to say something to him, but I'm just not going to, because that's not cool.
Just let him be Trae Young, not
yeah.
Let him be Trae Young, the person at the bar with you, rather than Trae Young, the NBA superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think it's okay if, like, in that situation, I'm like, hey man, like, what's up, like, because like I've done that. I don't know if you remember Rick Carlisle from the Dallas Mavericks coach. I was at an event and he was there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was super fan, but I was like, hey, do you mind if I just take like a quick picture? It wasn't like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Rick Carlisle, like, let's get a picture, like, let's hang out, bro. It was like,
yeah,
hey man, good luck with the Maverick season. And like, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a picture. If not, it's okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, I didn't. If I saw him across the way, it's not like I'd go run over there to him. It was just like, hey, there's Rick Carlisle. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Can you think of any? Of all the celebrities, what's your favorite? I mean, what's your favorite? Who's your favorite person?
Favorite person out of the celebrities?
Favorite celebrity.
I don't know if I have one. I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It's like
I don't think
nothing comes to mind.
Maybe Russell Westbrook, I guess.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook.
That'd probably be my like stan.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went to a Thunder. When they fly in, and people welcome them at the airport.
Yeah.
So I was at that once. I think it was Braden and I.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody else. Gary, I think, was there with us. He was leaving the airport in his car, and like he lives in Edmond, and we were going back to OC.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were going the exact same way. Like we didn't take the turnpike for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why he didn't take it. I didn't take it because I didn't have a pike pass, but we're following him, and I'm like, this dude probably thinks we're following him from the airport to his house.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't really care that much. We're just going to OC.
We're just going to our home.
Yeah.
He did live right there.
And so like we're going on I-44, and all of a sudden he like just punches on the accelerator and goes. And I'm like, this dude definitely thought we were following him. We're both going 65 miles per hour in on the 60 mile per hour highway. Like, I promise we're not following you, bro. But
that's funny.
I'm sure he was like, oh, they're gonna follow. Like, I'm sure he was not necessarily scared, but probably like, oh, I don't want to deal with these crazy fans.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was like, dude, I don't really care that much. Like, I'm just going home. So, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to discuss more about candidates or Trump or the Oliver Anthony song?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I wonder if the Oliver Anthony thing, if he'll actually end up being, continue to make hits, or if he's going to be a one-hit wonder. I mean, I know you showed that all of his songs are popular right now, but like in a year from now, if he releases songs, will he still be popular? That'll be
interesting. I think that he'll have some. Obviously, you go through waves of being popular, so
yeah. You have any hot takes or?
Let's see. I think even though they all at the Fox debate said if Trump wins, they're all gonna still support him, I don't think that's the case.
No, yeah.
I think they just said it to like to save face or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But I think in reality, like Pence will not support him.
Absolutely not.
That's like a bromance breakup thing. And I don't think DeSantis will either, but I think the rest of them are like whether they do it or not, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think those two are the big ones. Vivek, I think, will eventually drop out. Even if he's even if it's just them two, like as the top two for the primary, I bet he still drops out.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he would rather get a cabinet position or a VP position than lose in the primary. So
yeah.
But I still think you say that Trump will lose in the general election. I still think if he goes against Joe Biden, I think he has a chance because of how bad it's been going. Maybe that's a hot take, but I still think if it's just Biden and Trump, I think Trump has an actual chance.
We'll see. I don't know.
I'm not going to be offended if you think differently. That's perfectly acceptable.
I don't think so. I think he has a 0 chance. I mean, okay, I won't say 0. A lot of things could change, but we'll see when it comes time.
Oh, okay. What would happen if they both got into the primary and say, I mean, obviously Joe Biden's very old. What if he's like, they're in the primary and he dies or something? Like, I don't think that's ever happened, has it?
I don't know. I don't think that's ever happened.
What, does VP step up? Oh,
I think so. Yeah.
Does it go in order? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The interesting thing to think about. I don't think Joe Biden's going to die.
It's possible.
But it's possible. Well, as everyone gets older, as every single candidate is, 150 years old right now, then it's just going to be more likely.
The odds are not in their favor.
Yeah. But anyways, this has been Simply Technical. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, I gotta go.